7 years ago, I was getting into races for free. Sold out with a wait list? No problem, we'd love to have you. As an up-and-coming elite trail runner, I was getting special treatment. But things changed. I started working in a career. I got injured and life moved on. But now that I'm almost 30, I know that the window of opportunity to achieve my lifelong dream of becoming a pro runner is fleeting. So in this video, I'll go over the unique advantages that being a pro gives you, and what you can take from this to be successful in getting into the races that you want to run. This time around, I'll have to earn my way back into the most competitive races through general entry, and in the process, get a pricey look into how broken the registration system truly is. Races selling out a year before the start, no refunds, no transfers, and you can't even give your bib to your friend if you get injured. The insider strategies that I show you today are what I hope will take me all the way to my goal of becoming the hybrid athlete of the running world, where I'm not only aiming to run a sub 2:16 marathon to qualify for the Olympic trials, but also return to the elite level of trail running where I missed a golden ticket to Western States by only one spot. And to get to this level, I don't only need the fitness. I need to get into the right races to prove my competitiveness against the best athletes. Because I'll let you in on a little secret. Even though getting into races is optimized for elites, there's a system you can use to apply this to your own season. And the first thing you need to do is plan your season in reverse, but it's not for the reason you think. Even though pros use this approach to peak at the right time in their season, everyone else should do this too because it gives you the highest chance that your race isn't going to be sold out yet. By signing up for the race that you care about most the farthest in advance, you can actually focus on what matters, training for the race instead of refreshing the registration page like you're buying Taylor Swift tickets. And pros use this strategy all the time. Just like you might not get into every single race leading up to your goal, elite runners won't be in shape for their best performance either. By giving yourself time for things to go wrong, you build in flexibility to your program, whether that's for the physical preparation or planning your logistics. Because when it comes down to it, so much of enjoying running is based on prioritizing what you care about. I learned this lesson the hard way when I was planning my race season this year. I wanted to kick off my season at the LA Marathon, but by the time I went to register, it was already sold out. But instead of looking for some random marathon around that time just to have something on the calendar, it made way more sense to take a step back and think about my goals for the season. And that's why the next point matters so much. Don't let unscheduled races dictate your training. If you do, your fitness will suffer and you'll pay inflated entry fees. This year alone, I've already spent $600 on a measly 3 races, and it's only going up from there. And I'm not even trying to get into lottery-only events. In trail running, it's not uncommon to have to run 100 miles just to enter the lottery. And then, only if you get in, do you still have to pay $500 for the registration. It's absolutely insane how hard it is to get into the biggest races. It can be a multi-year journey of coordinating, tracking, and obsessing over whether you're gonna get in or not. It almost sounds like the college admissions process. And a lot of runners are surprisingly good at building fitness without a race on the calendar. But do not do this. If you want to get into something competitive, it's the perfect way to turn yourself into the person sitting at home with all this fitness and nothing to do with it. As they say, all trained up with nowhere to go. And it's not just for the sake of getting into these races either. It kills your motivation to never feel like you're training for something that actually matters to you. And for a lot of people, this just happens to be the same race as everybody else. In the dead of winter, it's not easy to think ahead to the races on a long summer day. But just remember that the preparation you do now, both in training as well as in planning, is what will pay dividends in months or years from now.
I got summer on the inside.
Unexpected things always come up, like getting sick, injured, or having your flight canceled. The way that pros combat this is maintaining optionality. This just means that outside of a championship race, they're never depending on a single event to make or break their season. And while you might not have the option to travel internationally just because something didn't work out for you, that's the part where local races have an amazing place in your preparation. It's not convenient and straight up unaffordable to do a bucket list race every time you want to do one. In fact, going on an excursion just to do a tune-up race is something I specifically advise not to do. So supporting your local running scene and being a part of that community is the perfect way to fill this gap. But you have to be a little careful not to let local races balloon your race budget for the year if you're doing too many just for fun. That's why, just like a pro, even though they might be getting their entries comped, they're always racing with a specific purpose in mind. And that alone is one of the easiest ways to free yourself from the broken race registration system. When you stop compulsively signing up for races just because they exist, your training becomes so much more consistent when you're not just living from race to race, and the meaning behind each event grows in importance and actually lets you have some race day magic. That said, having tune-up races before your goal event is really important for getting in the habit of racing and reminding your body what it's like to experience the toll of racing. Smaller local events tend not to be sold out and let you relive the glory days when you could sign up on race day. Unfortunately, that's where the broken registration system rears its ugly head again. Pros can get into races that they weren't prioritizing at the last minute, and ironically, these events don't serve pros well at all. Unless the race director has a true passion for the sport and a tolerance for financial hardship, it's typically not a good business decision for them to do this unless they have a really good promotion strategy already in place. Since general registration is the real moneymaker here, why would a race director be incentivized to give free entries and perks to pros anyway? The real answer here is the fact that sponsors are the ones pulling the strings. When shoe companies and big apparel brands are paying people just to run, they better make sure that they're on the start line. And it's really a two-way street. Most races are actually subsidized by their own sponsorships, which are often the same companies sponsoring the professional runners as well. When you have a single company controlling both sides of the equation, you end up with a power dynamic where they have control and can choose whatever outcome they please. At face value, it seems wrong that pros get special treatment since they're not the ones who drive value for these races. But to answer this question once and for all, do I think this is fair? Truthfully, I do. When it comes down to it, pros aren't the ones at fault here. It's the business of racing and the role that sponsors and sponsorship money plays in the sport. And like most industries, the ones who make the system possible aren't the ones who generate most of the revenue. Race directors and organizations enable the race to take place, but at the end of the day, it's the millions of runners across the world who keep the wheels spinning. And it doesn't feel fair to know that these strings are getting pulled when you're fighting it out in the lottery. But blame it on the fragile economic system that is the running industry. It's the race directors at larger events who need the pros for credibility, media, and sponsorship value. Pros simply can't afford to gamble their season on lotteries. And these lottery systems reward early awareness, not preparation. The other day I got an email from the Houston Marathon that said early registration had just closed and the regular entry window would open in 6 months, but not for the pros. They only have to submit a qualifying time a month out from the race. They'll even get a comped entry. But for everyone else, the fastest runner doesn't always get in. The most informed runner does. Anyone could use a spreadsheet to track this, but a dedicated tool to track registration windows like a pro doesn't exist yet. That's why I'm putting my coding skills to use to build out a place to organize your race calendar and make sure you never miss a registration window again. Click the link in the description to get early access when it's ready for you to use, so you can avoid price jumps and the forgotten lottery for your dream race.
I got summer on the inside.
The complicated interplay between your goals and registering for the races that support them is not something that pros have to contend with. Once you layer in training and peaking for events at different times of the year, this registration dance quickly becomes a logistics nightmare. This infuriating combination of very far in advance planning contrasted with the need for extreme flexibility when races don't open their registration or announce their next year's race date until just a few months out is what makes race registration so broken. Check out this video to see how I somehow managed to win a race that I signed up for the night before. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!
So if we just think about the good, ignore the bad, we could turn this around. Plus, no matter what, I got summer on the inside.